In addition to being, a writer of autobiographical stories, he was kind of unwittingly a historian as well. He bumped into a lot of actually very famous, Idaho characters and stuff. In fact, in Real Stuff number 12, one of my favorite stories of his, he kind of starts out with the story where he kind of, back when LSD was actually illegal at the time in the state of Idaho, he was tripping out on acid outside of Moscow, Idaho. And they go to this party, like in Spokane. Something weird happens. This woman pulls a gun on him, and so like he leaves the party, walks back to Moscow. He's walking all through the night, and when he gets into Lewiston, he's walking through Lewiston, and like one of Senator Frank Church's aides just kind of pops out of a building and sees him walking out around, and says like, "Hey, would you like to have a cup of coffee and a donut and meet Senator Frank Church, who was up there at the time, campaigning for one reason or another." So he went in at Senator Frank Church, met his wife. They were kind enough to give this hippie a ride back to Moscow, Idaho. There's a lot of history like in these Real Stuff comics. As far as like specific Boise imagery or Idaho imagery, I've always had in my mind like Boise in the 1950s and 60s as being like a very overly sanitized and very saccharine, place, like, where there's nothing really bad ever happens or goes on or anything. And that probably was that too, to a certain extent for some people. But a lot of his stories, he was a very rough and tumble teenager too. Playing football for Bora High School, and there's kind of some of his stories show kind of a dark underbelly too, and that was kind of something that kind of struck me. So a lot of people think that some of his stories are so incredible that they're fictions, but actually they are all true autobiographical stories. And I was even able to verify this one in particular called A Karma Thing, about Willie Benson, that Dennis knew when he was going to school at Bora High School, and he was kind of like this young, tough punk that always was getting in trouble with the law. And he went off to Vietnam and came back and joined up with the ROTC here at Boise College. In 1970, it changed from Boise Junior College to Boise College. And in that year, they were inaugurating the new football stadium, which was a grass field in the parking lot now, in between the current Bronco Stadium and the pavilion. So they were going to parachute, the ROTC guys were going to parachute in the game ball, and 3 of the guys made it down fine. Willie Benson had the game ball, and his parachute didn't deploy, and he hit the ground and bounced twice. He was in a lot of pain through the years since then. Died of a drug overdose early because of an addiction to painkillers. Dennis was actually pretty good friends with Charles Bukowski. They used to correspond like all the time. And before he did these Real Stuff comic books, he published a free art weekly in Seattle called The Northwest Extra. And Charles Bukowski contributed like a lot of poems to his newspaper. I remember once when I was writing, we were writing back and forth to each other. I was lamenting the fact that Charles Bukowski had just recently died, and he wrote back, "Yeah, it's very sad, of course, but he left behind a lot of great work." And it's the same thing with Dennis. He left behind a lot of really, really great work.